What's up, guys? It's White Schwartz back again with some new deck techs for you guys. New and improved deck tech. Joined today by my loyal companion, Carmen.
What's up?
And yes, we're going to be going through over the next few days. This is a little treat for you guys. Got all three of the power-up set updated decks. So for Log Horizon, Haruhi, and Kill la Kill. So we're going to be putting those out over the next couple days. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. Here's like the overall layout of the deck. If you're just here for the deck list, please leave us a like on the way out, and maybe like and leave a comment, helps us out. But yeah, this is just an overview of the deck here. Nothing too crazy. I mean, if you remember what these decks looked like before the power up set, you're gonna see a lot of similar stuff, but pretty much just slotting in the power up set cards that make the deck at least passable. Yeah, it makes them at least functionable, and at least you have level 1 combos that get you cards, level 3s that early play and finish. So yeah, let's just get into it. Starting off at 4 copies of Beach Angel Mariel. She's a global 500 assist to your field, and when you play her, you can have an optional mill 3 effect. Then second effect on it, you mill the top card of your deck. If it's a climax, it goes to your stock. So you have to do at least the mill 1 with this card. But even if you hit the climax and this goes to your stock, it's not. You just deal at least. I mean, that's basically like you attack with it anyways. But the optional mill 3 actually is pretty nice for Log Horizon. A common trend that all 3 of these updated power-up set decks have is that deck speed can sometimes be an issue, as the level 1 combos that they all have are just searching or salvaging combos. So you don't really have like a lot of deck speed. So the extra 3 cards to mill with this is actually pretty handy for the deck, as it's one of your only ways to mill, along with this next card, the Minori Brainstorm, which is gives 500 power at the start of your climax phase and searches for a weapon or magic character when you hit with it. So it's nice to finally have like a good plussing Brainstorm in Log Horizon. One of those cards I mentioned that just helps the deck function and be playable. Moving on to what is our plussing level zeros, we have 4 copies of Sojiro, who during your opponent's turn, if they have 3 or less characters on their field, he gets 2,000 power. So basically this card's always going to live. Your opponent has to quad field to get this down to 2,500 and run it over. So 4,500 is like actually like a huge wall at level 0. So this ends up being our like best plussing level 0 in the set that I could find, because we don't have a Ricky, we don't have like a good runner. They have like a chaser, but it's like undersized, which is kind of weird. So this is just what I think is probably the best plussing level 0 you have. And then 1 copy of the Nyanta, who's a 4,000 if you have 2 or less stock, and he's basically just a 5th Sojiro. Then rounding out the level 0s, we got 2 copies of the Drop Search. She has a first effect that's completely irrelevant, and 2 copies of the Climax Filter. So when you play the Isuzu, you can discard Climax to salvage character, and on direct attack give 1,500 power. The extra 1,500 power can be nice, because your stuff generally doesn't get too big on offense. A lot of your power comes off turn in Log Horizon. So that is it for level 0s, 17 of them. Moving on to the level 1 combo, we have Sir William Massachusetts. And I've heard you mention the Massachusetts combo before, Carmen, so I'm guessing this is where it comes from.
I think it's this, or like Kontai. I don't know. I just heard people say, "Oh, top check ad, that's Massachusetts." Like, oh, okay. So,
it could be Kontai maybe, because like I'm thinking like how many Massachusetts cards are out there, but I guess
yeah, it's probably this and Kontai, right? And maybe Azure Link, probably it.
But anyway, here he is. He gets 500 power for each of your other characters, so he'll be sitting at 6,000 power if you have full field. And the combo, on attack, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a weapon or magic character, it adds to your hand. So nothing fantastical by 2023 standards, but hey, it's a plussing combo, and that's something that every deck much needs nowadays to compete. So, and it's off a good trigger too. So hopefully you'll be able to resolve this combo when you hit level 1 and maybe another time throughout the game.
Resolve of Gamer. That is a title for a card. Resolve of Gamer.
Yeah, I don't know. I've only seen the first season of Log Horizon. I don't think I ever got William Massachusetts, but I don't know. He kind of looks like a bad guy to me. But
I'm not sure. It's been so long.
And then rounding out level 1s, I got 2 copies of this Waltz for 2 Shiro. He is an old card. If you have 4 more hand, he gets 1,500 power, like whatever. And he has Clock Encore. This is just an additional plussing option, because again, we don't really have a Ricky. And if you can't hold field, it'd probably be a bit tough to get card advantage in this set. So that's why he's there. Kind of a crappy card, but at least he lived with Block Encore. 2 copies of Nyanta. He's actually a pretty good card here. He is a JC. So when your other character's being front attack, you can pay 1 and sack Nyanta, pop the card that's being attacked back to your hand. So can save one of your Massachusetts to do another combo with. The fact that you're sacking the Nyanta and then popping your card back to your other card back to your hand means they have like an on reverse combo. You can maybe stop that with that effect. So JCs are pretty good versatile cards. They don't get printed a whole lot. So very surprising that Log Horizon actually is like that. And he's a good second effect too. You can rest 2 of your characters to 11 side attack for free, which is great because that means he's going to live then, so he can use his JC effect on your opponent's turn. And then finishing off level 1, I got 3 copies of Mind Shock. This is a 3500 event counter.
Keeps your level 1s alive.
Like,
they're 6k, right? Puts them to 9.5. That's pretty big.
Yeah, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, a lot of Log Horizon's power is off turn, and they can get pretty big, their cards. But it's often like you're like overkilling it, I guess, if that makes sense. Like 3500 is a shitload of power, but that's like really the best backup option they have. They have like a few different character backups, level 1 that I saw, but like their 2k counter was tied to like a really awful condition of like needing to have a certain character on the field, so that was just like a no-go. At least even curving into the higher levels, Mind Shock is like a big enough counter, it's going to stay useful. And you can even use it on turn too, pump for your attack step. So yeah, 3500 is a shitload of power, and it can help our stuff live and help us win board. Got a pretty sparse level 2 here, 2 copies of the old Akatsuki counter, which is the free fresh counter, and 1 copy of Nureha. She must be important to the show somewhere. She has that first effect where she gets another name. She's also Dariella when she's on your field. So I don't know. Those
I don't remember.
like never, yeah, they're like never like useful like in the game. It's usually just a flavor thing. But yeah, we play her because she's a level assist to all of our characters off turn. So it's a global level assist off turn, and at the beginning of our opponent's encore step, we choose one of our characters and give it hand encore. So that's kind of like a nice effect for like your opponent's turn, making your early plays and stuff bigger so they live, and then even if they don't, you can give like spot encore somewhere.
These kinds of cards can be like really nutty. I remember having old cards that were like this pop up in the modern like JP meta around like the Capo Anniversary came out, where like you like randomly give a character like hand encore that should never have hand encore, and like that character's already like pretty sticky, and they like it just becomes an absolute nightmare to try to get rid of stuff. Probably not that crazy for Log Horizon, but these kinds of effects are like really strong, where you just like arbitrarily give characters like some sort of encore ability.
Yeah, it's definitely convenient, especially since the power pump is global. So if your field is bigger than theirs and they have to kind of like struggle to get over something, you can just encore whichever lane they chose to hit over, which is kind of nice. But like you said, you don't really have a high value target necessarily in Log Horizon. It's just a handy little effect, and it's mostly there just because it's a level assist. And then moving into the level 3s, 3 copies of Shadowlurk Akatsuki. This is your early play. You get 1500 power if you have 3 or more other characters. So it sits at 10-5, and then on play is a top check X to the number of characters on your field. So pretty much all the early plays that new decks got here, well, at least I think for Log Horizon and Kill la Kill, are like top check X, and I actually like that instead of them being healers. Because again, these sets are still like kind of old and outdated, so anything just to get like an extra card in your hand can be nice when you don't have all the best tools for plussing throughout the game, such as like Ricky's and like better level 1 combos or whatnot. So the top check X is actually pretty nice. 4 copies of Lords Ninja Akatsuki. This is the finisher of the deck. Climax combo with the door there to get on attack 4000 power and on reverse deal 1 damage to your opponent. So nothing like super impressive, but it is does get you some burn damage, is off a good trigger, and heals on play, so that's pretty nice. And it gets pretty big. And the goal actually is to kind of try to 2-turn your opponent with the next card here, Log Horizon's representative Shiro. And you know, I've been maybe a little bit of a Debbie Downer this video, saying a lot of the cards maybe aren't up to snuff, but boy is this one. This card is fucking insane, the Shiro. Like, if only the set had standby. But yeah, this Shiro does a lot. Just continuous effect, your opponent can't deal any damage to you with auto effect, just period. Not in any like specific lane, doesn't target, nothing. It's just you cannot be burned by your opponent's burn.
You can't be burned. That's it.
Which is like insane. Pretty much turns off any finisher your opponent has, with a few exceptions. But yeah, that's just so nuts. And you heal down with the Akatsuki's, and then
your opponent can't burn you back. Yeah.
And then you get like another turn to swing. That's kind of the idea. To help your Akatsuki's live, he's also a frontal assist 1000 power times level. So he'll be giving your level 3s in front of him an extra 3000 power. And on top of that, his last effect is during your turn when you reverse your opponent with any character on your field, you can pay 1 and rest him to give that character a neg soul effect to shrink the opponent across you -2. But yeah, that's the goal here. You heal down with the Akatsuki's in the front row, you put some Shiros in the back row. Hopefully you're sitting at like 3-0 now, and your opponent can't burn you. And then you're giving up to 2 of your lanes neg soul as well. So yeah, the Shiro is just a super nuts card, and really is like the draw to play Log Horizon, I think, in 2023 in general, is to get that super juicy negate all burn damage effect. That's super nice. But yeah, in closing, here is the entire list again. You have any final thoughts on it, Carmen?
Yeah, I think my only thing, I like your more normal take on the deck, because I feel like every time I see Log Horizon, it's like 3 to 4 Narejas, like, and like the bodyguard, where like what they're trying to do is they're trying to slap the bodyguard, get a single reverse in the center lane with the bodyguard, which like your opponent can very easily play around. Like they can just, even if they have to, just not field a card there. And then they go all in on the Shiro, giving the bodyguard the -2, because I'm pretty sure how the rules work is bodyguard makes all cards face that card, so the -2 soul goes off in like quote unquote every lane. I believe that's how that works, because that's how I see a lot of the decks built.
I'm glad you mentioned that. That was something I wanted to do with the deck. I know when we had looked at the Log Horizon cards like 4, which would have probably a long time ago when we were getting into it.
Really long time. Yeah,
but like the way it's worded is very,
it's really weird in English for sure. I think it's a lot more clear cut.
But I did look into it.
Japanese, but
I looked into it. Definition of facing is the card across from you. So the way it's worded might make you think you could put the bodyguard in the center, load him up with the neg soul effect, and then you just get -4 soul to your opponent's whole field. That's not actually how it works. You would only be giving the neg soul to the card that's in the lane across from him.
Okay, well, like, either way, regardless of how it works, like even if it did work the other way, I think that strategy is actually like ridiculously fragile, because if I was sitting across from this and my opponent like put a 500 power card, like put this 500 power card in the center to like one of these many 500 power level zeros in the center to make it so that I couldn't even crash, I would literally attack twice, because their bodyguard only works in the center lane. If your card is not in the center lane with bodyguard, it does not function. So like they can't get a reverse because the card gets that -2 soul in the center. You could literally just attack twice. So I always thought that like strategy, even if it like did work or whatever, and I don't know if it does or doesn't. We'd have to hit up Mr. Boats Don't Sink about that one. But
yeah, I was gonna say I did look into like the technical rules of it to just see what actual
like what facing means. Yeah,
facing means. And what I found was the character specifically refers to the character in the
lane across from
adjacent lane.
Okay.
In the corresponding lane.
Bodyguard's definitely weird. A lot of things. The game always makes you want to think it's just like all lanes tilt inwards to do this, and then there's always a bunch of weird corner cases with it. It's definitely one of the weirder keywords in the game.
Yeah, since bodyguard didn't work that way, that's why I just went with the
just the healers, just
boarding up with the Akatsuki's, because the big card with bodyguard, he doesn't do anything else when you play.
It lets you play more level 1s too, like because you're not dedicating all this garbage to the bodyguard. Like you can like play a better level 0, play a better level 1, which like I don't know, every card you can do to make getting to Shiro more reasonable because your Log Horizon is probably a good thing.
But yeah, that's it for the updated Log Horizon list. Here's the slide we put at the end of all our videos with the link to the Discord, Facebooks, and Weiss Fight. So definitely check those out. And I think if there's nothing else, that it's going to be us signing off here. Have a great day, guys, and look forward to Haruhi tomorrow.
See ya.